Join us for a look at the new Index Chaotica, the new Apocrypha Codex from Games Workshop that draws from these two fantastic books right here.
Spiky bits.
Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Rob Baer with you again today with a little new review and walk down memory lane. So we have a brand new Index Chaotica Apocrypha today that is basically a collection of some of the older works of the Realm of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness, and The Lost and the Damned from the late 80s and early 90s. Two venerable books that I actually don't even own. These are a friend of mine, Matt P., here locally, and he let me borrow them actually in the summer, and I forgot I had them for a while. And now I'm going to do a flashback on them next. But it just so happened that this book contains a lot of the material in here, and there's a lot of origins and things that was actually in the Realm of Chaos that pertains to stuff today, and they've collected a lot of it in here. They've also grabbed a lot of White Dwarf articles, and it's just a really chaosy feel to kind of give you that idea of what is chaos, where did it come from, and why do we care? I mean, we care because it's like the bad guys, and some people are just always obsessed with the bad guys, right? And that's just how it goes. So these books, I won't lie, they're very hard to find. I don't have them because I wasn't allowed to have them when I was younger. My mom wouldn't let me have them. So I never got them personally. You can tell Matt's copies are actually pretty decent for the years that these things are old. I mean, you're talking 25, in some cases for the Slaves to Darkness books, actually older than that. And they go for a lot on eBay. They're very hard to find still, but what's nice about them is that they are still in very good condition. They contain a plethora of information basically right off the bat. Actually, this wasn't the first one. This came out in 1990. The Slaves to Darkness one actually started right off the bat explaining, all of you can tell from this old print here, this is like the old Rogue Trader kind of style. It actually contained rules for Rogue Trader, and then it really got into basically explaining, this is actually a story in the Apocrypha book. It basically explains the link between Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k right off the bat, right there in that very, very first page, right? And then it just kind of gets into some rules and different things, but also originates the story of the Horus Heresy, the Grey Knights, all sorts of stuff. So these are amazing tomes, so we're going to get to them in a separate video, but I wanted to mention them just so you had a visualization of what these are in case you're getting this book and you're like, WTF are these books they're even talking about? I've never seen those before. Well, they're right here. And like I said, pretty crazy nuts, hard to find, super expensive if you do find them. So, try to find them. If you're really into chaos, they are worth the read, believe me. Now, there's a lot of stuff in there that's old rules that really don't have anything to do with anything. I mean, you got 3rd edition fantasy and Rogue Trader 40k. I think even Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay stuff's in there as well. Here's the contents of the reprint. I guess they call it, what do they call it here? It's a Chaos Retrospective. I feel like I should be have a little swirler, a little decanter of a fine liqueur, and have my smoking jacket on as I read this thing here. This is the breakdown. It's basically a codex size book with the highlights of those books of White Dwarfs of the time. And that's pretty much all I noticed that was in here, just kind of flipping through it. So they kind of explain, they start at the beginning. They really don't get into the link between fantasy and 40k, but as far as affordability and just something to throw on your coffee table, it's pretty dope. Like, if you're into chaos, this is a great pickup because not a lot of us are going to have all these White Dwarfs or have even read some of these White Dwarf articles from the mid-90s and early 2000s, you know what I mean? And plus, it's got a lot of material. There you can see the Lost and the Damned cover. I think that picture is actually, or that painting is actually titled Blood and Iron, I want to say, strangely enough. Why do I know this? I don't know. And there's a picture of Slaves to Darkness, which we just showed you. And then it gets into some more stuff. These actual first couple of pages are really good. They explain where the content is coming from. And then you can see here, this is the old Bloodthirster model from those years. You could actually purchase them with different weapons and different head options. So there's about 8 different combinations, if I remember correctly, that you can make. You might also notice he is based the miniature from Battle Masters, or Hero Quest, excuse me, Hero Quest the Milton Bradley Dungeons and Dragons game that we're also fond of, and there's a crazy retro video going around here in the past couple months up on YouTube. This model, if you've never seen it before, this is the Bloodthirster, and that plastic boss from Hero Quest is based off of this because Games Workshop made the miniatures for Milton Bradley games. So just a little more history just kind of creeping in everywhere on this particular review. And then there's the Inquisitor Thrax story that we just saw on the first page in that book. So lots of cool stuff in here talking about possession. They do have some old statistics and things in here. The very first army list for some of these guys, remember Horus Heresy was invented in this book. Actually, they mentioned it in a little epic game in one of the White Dwarfs, but they really expanded on it in those first books there until it started to really kind of take up a shape of its own. And they splash in a lot of Just Goodwin sketches in here. You got Aramon in here, you got Karn in here. It's a really neat book. There's a lot of classic fiction in here, just original depictions of, all of the different demons and different things, just magic in general, which really isn't a thing anymore. Gifts, there was like this table where you could get all sorts of wacky stuff. And then, just it's really cool to see in here all the different stuff. These are old epic models, the old demon engines, and of course you can tell some of these have been repurposed to be newer stuff here in this age. What does that guy look like, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff in here, and if you're into Chaos, it's definitely worth picking up. I think it's $35 retail. It is sold out now currently. This is basically the sister companion to the Index Chaotica Apocrypha, minus a little bit of cat vomit on it. I was very upset to find that. There's a lot of silent protest around here sometimes, but these are definitely going on my coffee table. Together they form basically the dynamic duo of, hey, what's this game 40K you play? Just pick up that book and start reading. You know what I mean? So it's really neat. It's definitely part of the fluff, and who knows, next time we'll get something cool like this from Games Workshop. But if you love reading, you love stories, you love original art and all the original kind of background and everything to a lot of the units from Warhammer 40K, there's an old epic Space Marine. I guess it was called Space Marine, then Epic 40K, and then just 40K. This is an old piece of art from it where you could actually purchase the Avatar miniature. It was only about that tall at the time, in a Bloodthirster. These are actually Falcon Grav tanks, believe it or not. Everything looked different back then, believe me. It's super crazy. So, like I said, pick it up. If you love Chaos, you can't go wrong picking this book up. If you can find it, I'm sure it's still in some local game stores, but currently out of stock on Games Workshop's website.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.